friends. We are honored to be here in our home state of New York. The happiest years of our life have been spent here in New York State, not in Washington, not amongst that rabble that we had to, by necessity, associate with. It was hard to get legislation passed when people's minds were closed to the obvious that was in front of them. You must show the obvious. You must state and restate the obvious if you are to win your cause. Friends, I have a brief text. Because of my advanced years, I hope you'll forgive me for reading. Some people have asked me why I've come back. Some of the so-called political leaders are really starting to get my dander up. I harbor no hatred for these people. Many of them are misguided. Many of them simply don't know. But it is our job to give them direction.
Yes.
It is our job to lead them in the course that is important to the people. Without the people, you have no nation. It is the people that supports the nation. Some of our current crop of politicians and so-called leaders scare me. Scare me as they did back in my day. They seem to have forgotten the lessons of my day. We had people on bread lines. You have people going to what is now called food pantries. We had Okies looking for work. Now you have the 99ers whose long-term unemployment benefits have run out and they still can't find work. We need the WPA back in existence. We need a new NRA in existence. We need to build a nation. We have infrastructure crumbling around us. There are people looking for jobs. Create jobs for them. Make the state and nation better. Give people a paycheck. Instill in them pride and dignity, and you will have an active member of your community and your society.
Citizens income.
Citizens income. My time and yours, people buried their heads in the sand and claimed the economy would fix itself. That could be nothing further from the truth. I know the current target of these so-called politicians I mentioned. There's nothing new about it. They are targeting the labor unions. The very labor unions that brought people a weekend off, the ability to buy and afford their own home, to have a motor car, the people who created the middle class that supports the back of the nation. They need a break. The next target, and this is square in the crosshairs, is the program of my particular choice, Social Security. They're attacking Social Security and two other programs that I only could dream of, that being Medicare and Medicaid. They want to do away with them. They may not say that out front, but that is their intent. They wish to do away with it and seize the money for their otherwise deviant plans. It is up to us to stop them. These programs have continued a commitment I made some 75 years ago. An American promise, a social contract that says to everyone and to future generations that no American who loses his or her job or gets injured or sick will be left without help. These programs create a safety net for hundreds of millions of Americans through programs like the unemployment compensation, old age pensions, and increased services for the protection of children and the protection of ill health. It is a promise of economic security for the people. As I said in the signing of the Social Security law in '35, we can never insure 100% of the population against 100% of the hazards and vicissitudes of life. But we have tried to frame a law which gives some measure of protection to the average citizen. With the passage of Medicare and Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, our nation's political leaders have followed through on my commitment by providing the basic health care needs for all Americans. We must ensure it continues. Today, you face an economic situation similar to what I faced in the Great Depression. This has motivated me to return to offer some insights. The economy is not created and shaped by acts of nature. It is created and shaped by acts of man. It is influenced by the choices that we as people make. The economic downturn that we experienced in the Great Depression had some of the same causes as the Great Recession of today. Too much unfettered speculation, lack of controls and regulation. You can make conscious choices and get us out of this mess just as I did by standing up and being proactive.
All right.
Our country, bless you, our country would be much better off today had the current administration a real plan together like I did to put people back to work, help people from losing their homes rather than just focusing on bailing out the banks and the massive corporations with taxpayers' money. The continuation of the tax cuts to the millionaires and our ongoing wars has caused the worst deficit in the history of the nation.
Yes.
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the Affordable Care Act and domestic programs like education and health care have not caused these deficits. And we should not expect to balance our budgets by destroying these vital plans. As I said, we have choices to deal with our economic crisis and the default. One is to undermine our retirement and health security. It is not one that I favor at all. It is one that we should oppose at every turning stone. The other is to ask those who have benefited the most in the past boom years, the top 1% who now hold over a third of the privately held wealth, to pay a bit more in taxes. Now, I earned my money the old-fashioned way. I inherited it, and I can afford to spend a little more to help those that can. Raise taxes on billionaires and millionaires. We've lost track of millionaires now because there are billionaires cropping up right and left. We are still the wealthiest nation in the world, and it is our obligation to take care of our own citizenry. At my second inaugural address, I said a test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have it. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. That is as true today as it was back when I spoke this in '37. Another reason I am here, I sensed our side needed a bit of a pep talk. We are often like lambs and they are like lions. Let me hear you roar. I am an old campaigner and I love a good fight.
Hear him!
We will rage against the attacks on the programs we hold near and dear, Medicaid, Medicare, and the Social Security. We are demanding that our political leaders address the deficit by taxing the millionaires and billionaires, those with abundance. And we must create a jobs program to put Americans back to work, as I did in my time with WPA and NRA. Let us never forget that government is ourselves. We are not, it is not an alien power above our heads, some UFO. The ultimate rulers of democracy are not the presidents, the Congress, and the Senate. They are the individual voters. The most powerful individual in the nation is that which reflects when you look in your mirror at home. You have the vote. If you don't like what they're doing, if they are not representing you as they stated, vote them out. Be proactive. We have signs here. The signs should appear in your yard. They should appear in your car. You should have a sign up saying, "How will you vote, Joe?" You want to know your candidate's position because when it is time to cast that almighty ballot, his job depends on it, and very well your job future. Friends, I thank you very much for allowing me these few words here today. Elanor, a couple of words you might wish to say.
Words, Franklin? Well, I was hoping to say a few sentences or perhaps even a few paragraphs, but really, I'm looking upon you who've come to listen to us today, and I'm seeing ordinary working people, and you are the ones who strive to fulfill that American promise, and who hope to deliver that to your children and your children's children. So be courageous. Let your voices be heard in your meeting places, in your neighborhoods, in your workplaces. And never forget that you are not powerless. You have the greatest weapon of all, and that is your vote. So when you go to the voting booth, are there still voting booths?
No, they're run by Diebold.
You know what I'm saying. When you go to vote, vote for those people who are going to serve your interests, not for those who wish to deny them. That is all I have to say, but I really appreciate being here. Thank you and God bless you.